Hiya, John Mansell, exboozehound. Hope you're well. Today's vlog's very different to most of the stuff I've done, and that's because I took over 3 days. I took part in something called the Adass Spring Seminar 2021. Last week. Adass stands for Association of Directors of Adult Social Services, and some of you might remember from a while back, a year or so back, I did something called a peer review for West Midlands Adass at Dudley Adult Social Care, with other people from different boroughs and adult social care. If you want to know more information about that, there's a vlog that I posted on the 24th of July 2019 called Dudley Adult Social Care, Dudley ASC Peer Review. So yes, last week I contributed to and took part in and listened and watched and with interest Adass Spring Summer, what's it called? Spring Seminar 2021. I think right from the start, some of you are going to lose interest very, very quickly, and that's fair enough. The seminar, I'm being involved in the seminar, is something that I'm very proud of. There are some statistics that I've written down. I don't do that very often, and some other numbers that I'm going to quote. I'm not 100% sure of that they're all accurate, but then politicians don't seem to care whether they're accurate or not, so why should I? So yeah, I started off on the I wanted to do more. I wanted to look at more on the seminars, but to be honest, I was struggling with my concentration and stuff like that. And after I'd done bits, I was completely wiped out. Again, that might sound a little bit sad, but that's just the way it goes. You know, I did have to rest up a lot after taking part in these things. But it started on the Wednesday, and I was on a panel. It was called West Midlands Assurance Innovation, Any Improvements. And I was on a panel with Paulette Hamilton, Cabinet Minister for Health and Social Care, Matt Boucher, Director of Adult Social Care in Dudley, Peter Jackson, West Midlands Adass Improvement Director, Richard Harling, Director of Health and Care, Staffordshire Council, and Professor Robin Miller from Birmingham University. And basically what it was about was West Midlands Adass commissioned Robin Miller from Birmingham University to do an assessment on the peer review process. And there was, I'm just going to do a couple of sum ups here, but there was a lot more detailed information. But some great figures here. 78% said that it was extremely or very useful process, the peer review process. 95% said a good use of resources, and 88% said they would recommend a peer review process. So all in all, a positive thing, and I think the vlog I did a while back, that was quite positive as well. Robin did talk about lots of other things, and the one I wanted to mention, because I got a bit of a laugh at this, is as he was talking, he said that some of the life experience people, when I did the peer review, I was the first person to do it as a lived experience, somebody outside the area. Something without the professionalism, and he said that some of the life experience people were unsure of the boundaries and found it difficult with the confidence. And for me, I wrote down, as he was saying, that I was never unsure of the boundaries because I didn't care what the boundaries were. And the confidence is a difficult one, because yes, it was hard work building up to it. But once you're there, you're there. And you know, if you do get the opportunity to get involved in something like this, it's really important to remember all you got to do is be you. Because, you know, Matt Bowsher wouldn't have invited me on the peer review panel, West Midlands Adass wouldn't have invited me to go to the Adass seminar, to just be the same as everybody else, and you know, buy into the what the system says. You know, I'm there to be me, and I'm there to ask questions that I want to ask, and what the boundaries are, I really don't. I honestly don't care. And the confidence comes with, and I said this, you know, it's just about being you, and that's what they want. So yeah, that was interesting. That was good. Got a couple of laughs, but it was really interesting chat. And then on the Thursday, started with a workshop by a company called Newton, and it was called Delivering the Future of Adult Social Care. And there was obviously a lot more information within that, but a couple of other things that stood out for me that I wrote down. A guy called Daniel Sperrin at Newton said, best outcomes for patients by developing independence. He also said how we support person-centred practice. Now, person-centred practice and holistic approaches is something they've been talking about for many, many years, you know, about putting the person at the centre of everything and dealing with the person, not just the issues. Because obviously you get a lot of people that have got mental health and physical health issues, and they bounce off each other and it gets confused, where if you put people in the middle, and just work with the people as individuals, that's how to do things. And the other thing is, you know, going back to the first thing that I mentioned, best outcomes for patients by developing independence. Now, independence is crucially important. You have to be able to develop or be helped to develop a certain amount of your own independence, because a lot of people end up sort of institutionalized by their own surroundings because they rely on everybody else to do stuff for them. You can't move forward like that. You have to find that independence. You have to find that resilience. So I'm really in agreement with what they said there. I did promise myself I wasn't going to say this on the independence part, but part of being independent is having some financial surety to give your independence. And over this COVID period, a lot of people have had to go onto universal credit, and it's strange because while we're on this universal credit COVID, they've increased it by £20 a week. And for my mind, the reason they've increased it by £20 a week is because it's not livable. You cannot live a life on universal credit. And what they're saying is, by the people who are out of work now that were in work, that they can't get by on what people with mental health and physical health people have to get by on through no fault of their own. And without financial support or finances in place, the level of independence that you can get is always going to be restricted. And the other strange thing is as well is that universal credit was increased by £20 a week, but what I'm on in employment support allowance hasn't been increased by £20 a week. So why is it that I'm being penalised more than else? I'll shut up now. I did say I wasn't going to say anything like that, but yeah, in order to gain that independence, we have to find our own resilience. You have to have money, or a certain level of money, to build independence, and you just don't if you have to be on benefits. And then later on the Thursday, we had keynote speech by Jeremy Hunt, MP, Chair of Health and Care Select Committee, and after that Liz Kendall, MP, Shadow Minister for Care. Now, I was going to mention this right at the start, but I forgot. From what I can work out, the adult social care budget is about 20 billion. It seems almost by design that you can't. It's very difficult to actually get a definitive figure on this. And I'll give you an example. I found one that said, I think it was 22 billion was the budget for adult social care in 2018 to 2019. And then I found another piece where it said there was an increase in the adult social care budget to 19 billion in 2019 to 2020. Well, obviously that's not an increase. So it's about a 20 billion pound budget. So we had the keynote speech. Jeremy Hunt, unbelievably, I actually quite like him. I know people within the NHS and adult social care will disagree with that, and yes, he has made me very angry over the years. But I felt after listening to him a bit more, he's got balls. He's stuck within the NHS job with a lot of stick, a lot of abuse. And I think he stuck with it, and it showed balls. It showed courage, and I admired him for that. No, he didn't do everything right, fairly obviously, but and his keynote speech was live. He answered questions. He was honest and open, seemingly for an MP, and realistic. And I think one of the things that I found really interesting was he spoke about, in order just to cover the living wage, national living wage, or what it's called, the living wage, in order to cover the increase in that and the demographics of people over the age of 65, the government would have to increase the budget by 4 billion just to cover that, just to cover the increase in living wage and the people over 65. So moving forward, when you see the 10-year reforms that Boris has promised, and they announce a 4 billion increase in the budget. 4 billion sounds like a lot of money, but in actual fact, it's 4 billion. They're just starting from the same spot without any improvements. They're just covering what they need to. Then Liz Kendall, I've said, gave a speech. It was, I didn't enjoy it. I just. It was too preachy. It was like there's always this thing about if we were in power we'd do this, and if the Conservatives haven't done that, and we could do this and all that. And I wasn't that impressed. And to that point, that I couldn't even be bothered to listen to the questions, because I just knew it just wasn't inspiring at all. Now, if you're starting to think, well, he's obviously a Conservative because he likes Jeremy Hunt and he disliked Liz Kendall, wait for the next bit. So the next day was a keynote speech from Matt Hancock MP, Secretary of State for Health and Care. Wasn't even live, and I think it was pretty, well, a waste of time, really. He had nothing inspiring to say. Yes, he thanked the adult social care staff and things like that, but no, I thought it was fairly pointless, really, and quite disappointing. But there you go. At the end of the day, there's got to be change. There's got to be investment. Boris promised it when he came in. They're looking at 10-year reforms like NHS, but After that, it's like I put out, after listening to Jeremy Hunt, Liz Kendall and Matt Hancock, does anybody believe that any government is going to actually put the money where their mouth is and find the funding? I don't believe they will. But then, I can sometimes be wrong. And then on the Friday, there was a workshop by a company called Brain in Hand, and Brain in Hand is basically an app that you can download onto your phone. The workshop was called Transforming Mental Health Support Services Using Digital Self-Management Approach. It was really interesting. I haven't checked the app out, but the boss, I think it was Matt Daniel, he was very interesting, and it was really seemed to be really well thought out. Number of people from Kirklees Council for Mental Health, they were really supportive of the app and really dedicated to it. And then there was a lady called Hannah Newton who basically administers and runs the application, helps people set up the app and follows the progress and keeps in touch with them. I think for me, the passion that she spoke with stood out. And very importantly as well, they did some feedback from people who use the application, and you could see that Hannah's got a great relationship with them. And one of the women talked about the fact that it helps her do the basics like clean her teeth and wash your hands and face and take a medication. Now a lot of people think, well, surely people just do that every day, but with mental health issues, sometimes you just can't, and it doesn't even occur to you. So there was a little reminders and other things with regard to the app. And there was another lady who, with a huge smile, spoke about another thing that happens on the app. Is something called "What Have I Achieved Today?" And you could see the interaction again with Hannah and this person feedback was really really good, and the young lady was really smiling when she talked about that. I like that a lot because for many years I've talked about daily wins, and sometimes you have these things where you just can't do stuff. It just can't motivate yourself to do stuff, so you have to make a note of what you have done. So that was good. I mean, again, I will have a look at that. I mean, I'm not a salesperson for a brain in hand, but it did seem to come across really well. And I know there's other applications out there, but again, they seem to have their own. They seem to have it sorted. So I mean, all in all, it was interesting. It was well run. It was the Adass spring seminar. What you could see from it was there was an abundance of people who work for adult social care, from top to bottom, who are obviously hugely dedicated, hugely motivated, hugely caring, hugely passionate, innovative, whatever that word is, innovative, can't think to say it. Some really, really good people, and the great thing as well was, again, with the workshops that I watched and listened to and whatever, I asked questions and they were read out. So again, another proof that they're willing to take questions from nobodies, and that's really good. I know I will have missed stuff out, but all in all, it was a great. It seemed really good. The thing is with adult social care, and I don't know whether I've already said this, but adult social care, people perceive it to be people over the age of 65. And that's the way I feel that they portray it on the BBC News and other newses. When in actual fact, just under half is used for people aged 18 to 64. So I think that's a really important fact to get across at the end. It's not just the elderly, it's people from the ages of 18 to 64. It's called adult social care. It's for adults, so anybody over the age of 18 can come into needing adult social care. So it's really important that we get the changes right. It's really important that they do what they promised and level up adult social care in line with the National Health Service. And also, in order to do that, they got to include people like me and other people with lived experience, because I've had it a lot of times when and I'm proud that people have said this, that when I'm speaking to them, they've said, I've never thought about it like that, and God, that's interesting. And people have said to me, you make us look at it from a different angle. You make us think differently. That's what we do. That's what we can offer. That's what we, with lived experience, can do for people. We should be able. The commissioners should be talking directly to people like us. But I've gone on for 20 minutes now. I hope I've covered everything. It was interesting, and it is important that we get things right for adult social care moving forward. They've saved many lives over the last 14 months, and I'm hoping that they get the recompense and the rewards that they deserve. I'll leave it there. Enjoy the good, right out the bad, and I'll catch you all soon. Bye bye.